Oh, nothing much here. It's if you can see the clock on the wall there, uh, not that one. That one's dead. That was put there by mistake by your thug. He figured it would figure into something like this, and so it's a kind of usurpation. Unless you have the background to know that I can't reach that in order to take it down because I'm crippled now. And I wish I could move it, but I do have a clock on the wall over there by the door that says it's 20 minutes past 2 in the morning, 2:20 a.m., the 7th of December. And I have no circadian abilities now, and uh, I happened upon a very eloquent understatement of some problems, and I was just going to follow up with some stuff that I've said before. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on for basically utility companies. You know, I think I told a story about a dinner party where I asked uh, the attorney for Alabama Power if he felt uncomfortable buying full page ads opposite the editorial page of the Birmingham News. And that's one of the reasons I'm here today without any number of references. So I thought I was right then, and sure enough, it wasn't too long before that situation was remedied in terms of those who had some sort of decorum or some moral compass or ethical demeanor to share. And so now that is done, as far as I know. But I was watching some other stuff this evening, or this morning rather, about the hue and cry about one thing or another. And I can just cut to the chase a little bit and say, we hear these tremendous machines, almost like H.G. Wells, tripods walking across the nation, zapping people. So like high-powered big screen people that he knew about. Nowadays, little screen. All-powerful big machines. We have that still in that, the movie houses, the big screen people are not quite what they used to be, but we have little screens and also the internet. And so the players now turn out to be, the telephone companies, telecom companies. They stride around, huge, imposing companies that we should listen to, what, in terms of where their ads are placed, what they have to say, and all the rest. And to an extent, it's not the same as it used to be in terms of power companies who would, tell you that the Birmingham News was in their pocket, literally. We have ads now. Well, there's a real fancy outfit known as Firing Line, Bill Buckley. He used to line up sponsors that would make you think, well, actually, he's in charge of the world, or something like that. But really, folks, what we have now is you talk about the economy and what's wrong. I'll tell you what could happen. We could de-escalate the impressions made by powerful advertisers who manipulate media, such as, the telecom companies. You know who they are. I mean, after all, you don't see big tripods of power striding across as if G. Wells had intended, in explicit terms, talking about what? Your water supply, the grid that supplies your drinking water. If you pay separately, a lot of people bundle any number of things, but just talking about, those of you who have a private water company, do you see colossal advertising going on? Well, of course not, because they are pretty much monopolies. It's not as though there are 10 different pipelines in the middle of the street, 10 feet down, ready to tie you into their own private networks for water. But the situation is not much better if you say, oh, well, we have 10 different telecommunications companies, and with a flip of a switch, in some downtown area, you get monitored by, some billing apparatus that says you're connected to so-and-so rather than to somebody else. And then all that money goes willy-nilly somehow into the pie that pays for the machinery that they're all dependent on. Well, of course, there are a lot of details in all of this, but fundamentally, if you have a situation where things get out of whack, you'll end up with many, many advertising people and executives and I don't know what all, who really are not really terribly efficient, and again, if people hear me say all this, there are those who want quickly to say, well, what he's really saying is, let's all have socialism or communism or fascism or anarchy or what? Well, do you like the way things are going, folks? Take New York, for example. I was greatly encouraged to see that it looked to me as though we were going to finally have some real debates on one thing or another, but it turns out so far it's been character assassination mixed with every effort to keep from talking about the particulars that surely people care about. All I hear are slogans and hogwash. And I don't know why that should be the case if people are in genuine misery. I think what I'm getting is the same thing that someone who's in the 8th grade gets, who might be looking for things of interest, and which turn out to be malarkey. Yes, I look for certain things, and maybe an 8th grader doesn't. But also, things overlap. If they don't overlap, then what we call matriculation is really a word that some people don't understand. So what I'm saying is, if I wander through the internet, I should find this over there and that over here, and this for people who are 8 years old, 18 years old, 48 years old, But basically, we don't have today's version of a Carnegie library. Andrew tried to do his best at that point, and of course, the library, as we understand it, in those terms, is kind of quaint, and that doesn't mean we don't need to be about the business of making every tablet count. So I don't see what people are talking about if they can't talk about the particulars. What I understand is that I'm going to be fed a bunch of garbage because that's all I'm going to get. If I happen to tune in, then what happens is the equivalent of slamming the door, black rod or whatever. And I understand that. And I think a lot of people do. And so, well, if that's the way to do business, then no wonder there's no progress. It's not terribly interesting to look around and see the bargain basement of a Kmart that is closing in 3 days. Ever been there, folks? Well, you're too young to remember that, I guess.